Good evening, everyone. The July 9th meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. Mirroring and modeling the way our students begin each day, I ask that we observe a moment of silence at this time. Please join me. Thank you. Good evening, Board Member Cummings. Would you please be so kind to read our board commitment statement this evening?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. We are the Marion County School District Leadership Team. When we come together to work, we are efficient, effective, and productive. Our three most important characteristics are dedicated, transparent, and individually responsible. To work well together, we must demonstrate respect, confront reality, and be accountable. We will always put students first, and we will leave a legacy of success.
Thank you. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I'm requesting everyone in the audience to please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which the board customarily takes action, you must complete a peach form located in the lobby. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board clerk no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Good evening, Board Clerk. Please call the roll.
Dr. Allison Campbell, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Lori Conrad, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Here.
Mrs. Nancy Thrower, District 4.
Here.
Dr. Sarah James, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Diane Gullett, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Jeremy Powers, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. We'll move on to our inspiration and pledge. Dr. Gullett, I understand we have special guests with us this evening to inspire us and lead the Pledge of Allegiance. Good evening.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board. We certainly do, and I just want to say how wonderful it is to see our students. It is the middle of summer, so appreciate our students and their families being with us tonight. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Brewer, who is going to introduce our special guest who participated in the National HOSA competition recently. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Dr. Brewer, as you make your way down to the podium.
Hi, thank you, Dr. Gullett. Good evening, Chair Thrower, board members, and of course, Dr. Gullett. I'm excited to introduce and bring Kathy Audit, Coordinator of Career and Technical Education, to the podium. She is going to have the privilege of introducing quite some impressive students to you tonight.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you. So as you guys mentioned, we're very excited to have some amazing students with us here tonight. First, we'll have 2 students giving the inspiration and pledge, and then we'll do some recognitions as well. Our students giving the inspiration and pledge are members of our health science program and our health occupation student association. We're very fortunate to have health science programs at all of our high schools. So giving the inspiration will be Emily Holmes, a student at Bellevue High School who was recently elected as a HOSA state officer. And then we will also have Lila Smith from Bellevue Middle School.
Awesome.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for the chance to speak about HOSA and CTE classes and their immense impact on so many students. My name is Emily Holmes, and I am currently serving the approximately 17,000 Florida HOSA members as State Northern Vice President. To my knowledge, this is the first time within the last 15 years that a student from Marion County has served on the Florida HOSA State Executive Board. I share this to highlight my gratitude to be able to witness the amazing effects of HOSA and CTE courses. For those not familiar with HOSA, it is a global career and technical student organization with 291,000 members that promotes career opportunities in the healthcare industry. It aims to enhance healthcare delivery quality by developing leadership, technical, and interpersonal skills through competitions, conferences, and community service. Ultimately, HOSA cultivates academic excellence, civic responsibility, and a cohort of people committed to lifelong learning. Just this past month, the 15 total of us from Marion County Public Schools who qualified to compete at the 47th Annual International Leadership Conference in Houston, Texas. An incredible feat, by the way, as only so many students qualify to compete from each chartered association. We're able to witness the zeal and passion for medicine from members across the world. We were able to network with some of the 12,000 plus future health professionals in attendance, potentially forming lifelong professional relationships that we will refer to throughout our academic and career journeys. We broadened our horizons and took notice of the sense of camaraderie and mentorship within the global healthcare community. For some of us, this was the first time we had ever flown in a plane, or the first time we had ever traveled to Texas. This opportunity to compete at the international level was about more than just vying for the top spot in our competition, although several of us represented Marion County and Florida very well on the award stage. This experience signified personal growth and professional development, allowing us to expand our minds to the possibilities that lie within our futures and galvanizing us to achieve our lofty goals. But so many of our HOSA experiences started out with just a few encouraging words in the classroom from our amazing Marion County CTE teachers. We would not have been able to achieve this level of success without the dedication of these teachers, who continually strive to instill excellence within us and aid us in unlocking our full potential. From laying a strong foundation of health science knowledge, allowing some of us to showcase our extensive knowledge in events such as HOSA Bowl, nutrition information tests, or extemporaneous writing. For others, the hands-on learning surrounding basic life support proved exceptionally beneficial within the CPR first aid event. And I can't forget the class presentations and interpersonal skill development that empowered some of us to flourish in events such as speaking skills, clinical specialty, and public service announcement, where we effectively communicated our research to educate an audience. And this is just to name a few of the skills we were able to apply within the 78 different competitive events HOSA provides. I think I can speak for all of us when I say that our CTE and HOSA memories are invaluable, and if given the chance, we would gladly relive these moments. Needless to say, these influences have truly been transformative in molding us into successful, motivated young adults who are ready to serve communities and the patients of tomorrow. Thank you so much for allowing me to share a little bit more about my perspective, and thank you for your continued support of Marion County HOSA and CTE classes. It is an honor to be surrounded by so many of the bright students here, who one day might be practicing healthcare right back here in Marion County. And I think that's truly awesome. And now I'm going to hand it over to Lila. Thank you. To say the pledge.
Hi, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
In addition to the Inspiration and Pledge, we have several students here to recognize tonight. Our students and teachers have been very busy this summer, so we have two groups of students. We have our Skills USA students, who just recently traveled to Atlanta, Georgia to compete at the national competition, and then we have our HOSA students who just traveled to Dallas, Texas to compete at the international competition. I'll start by introducing our Skills USA competitors. These students are from Bellevue High School and the Robotics, Automation, and Design program. They all were awarded gold level at their state competition this spring, so they qualified to move on. And I'm going to try not to mess any of these words up, but they are on the mechatronics team. Students on the mechatronics team have to compete in pneumatic skills, electrical and mechanical systems, and general automation techniques. The team consisted of Justin Moreno and Jay Kumar Patel, and I'd also like to recognize their teacher, Dale Tony, who's here with us tonight. You guys can go stand in front of the stage. We also have several students here from the Health Occupation Student Association who competed at the international competition. From Bellevue High School, we have Emily Holmes, who just spoke, who competed in clinical specialty. We have Jessica Avalos, who placed in the top 6 at the international competition in speaking skills, and Gloria Valdez, who competed in personal care, along with their teacher, Stephanie Tadeo. From North Marion High School, we have Michaela Honors, who competed in CPR and first aid, and her teacher, Sonia Christmas. From Bellevue Middle School, we have Sophia Law and Roshni Vishgara, who placed 4th in their competition at the international level with career education display. And Lila Smith, who competed in prepared public speaking. And their teacher wasn't able to be here tonight, but I'd still like to recognize her, Nedra Huggins. She did a wonderful job. So all of these students and their teachers put in countless hours to prepare for these events, and I really think they represented Marion County very well.
They sure did. Thank you so much, and we want to come down and take a picture with you in just a minute, but first, on behalf of the whole Marion County School Board, congratulations, and just how wonderful is this? I was writing down all the different things that have been accomplished by all of you, and it's just amazing, and the places that you've gotten to go, and great timing getting to Houston when you did, I must say, and glad you're back safe and sound. Megatronics, how cool is that? Just moving on to all of the fantastic opportunities that you've been able to have representing yourselves, your families, your communities, your schools, your teachers. You know, at such a young age to be able to do everything that you're doing is really remarkable and commendable. And I know that that's setting you up well for a really bright future. So we'll look forward to having at least some of you come back and get involved in healthcare and robotics and pneumatics and everything else that was shared. And we look forward to really hearing all of the different things that we know you're going to accomplish in the future. And I also was thinking that it's amazing, you know, Ms. Holmes breaking a 15-year drought is quite an accomplishment. And now that you're the elected state officer, you know, for the first time for Marion County in 15 years is really something to be proud of, and we're certainly proud of you for that. So thank you. And if that just doesn't exemplify our commitment to supporting career, technical education, old school vocational for kids, you guys just symbolize that. So thank you so much. We'll come down and take a picture with you and your teachers.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3, couple more. 1, 2, one more. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Moms and dads, now's your time. Yeah, you can come up. Come on up. You're welcome to. I think that's it. Thank you.
Good job, everyone. So you don't have to stay at this point, so you can go home with your parents. Good job. Congratulations. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you for being here. Oh, yes. Bye. Thank you for being here. Thank you.
When you charge, can I borrow your juice for things? iPhones have gone now to USB-C.
Everything's going to USB-C.
iPhones have gone to USB-C charging now. So.
All right. I think I'm going to name my next horse Megatronic. I think that just sounds very powerful. All right, we are going to move on to another recognition. Dr. Gullett, I think we have one more special recognition on our agenda tonight.
We do have another. Thank you, Madam Chair. I am pleased to have Megan Magamal come forward with the Public Education Foundation, And I want to just say how grateful we are for all of our partnerships that help us assist and support all of our students in Marion County. And so you're going to hear about a wonderful partnership we have with one of our local hospitals tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good afternoon, Chair Thrower, school board members, Superintendent Dr. Gullett. Tonight, I am joined by our amazing HCA healthcare team. We have Alan Kesey, the CEO of our local Florida Ocala Hospital with HCA. Denise Kendust, Assistant Vice President of Community Engagement for HCA North Florida Division. Caitlin Wilson-Butler, our Director of Communications and Community Engagement for HCA Florida Ocala Hospital, along with Norma Reyna, VP of HR. We are proud to be announcing this evening that HCA Healthcare Foundation, through their Healthier Tomorrow Fund, will be partnering with our foundation to support healthcare career pathways for local high school students. We have been selected as one of 15 education foundations in the state of Florida to receive a total of $60,000 over a 3-year investment, specifically to support Marion County Public Schools developing work-based learning opportunities, healthcare career exploration activities, and support student competition for industry certifications. I would like to share, in addition to this new and exciting partnership, our local HCA Healthcare family has been supporting our students and our teachers in so many tremendous ways, including business partner for Westport High School, HOSA club sponsor for student competition participation like we just heard tonight, sponsor of our Golden Apple Teacher Recognition Program and our Golden Apple Academy. They are launching the first monthly Thank a Teacher campaign, thanks to HCA. They are scholarship sponsors for Take Stock in Children students. In fact, our very own HCA Florida Ocala CEO, Mr. Kesey, just signed up yesterday to be a mentor for Take Stock in Children. HCA also launched a partnership with us through our senior scholarship program. It's called the HCA Jumpstart Healthcare Program. We had 11 students from the MCPS class of 2024 who have received that scholarship. And in fact, I had some thank you letters that I brought with me to share with the HCA team. I wanted to share remarks from a student, but in looking through all of the remarks, I realized just like all of our students in Marion County Public Schools, each story, each background is so unique. And so their words of gratitude represented the place that they came from. We had students sharing that they were grateful for this partnership, for the support, because they were completely financially independent. They didn't know how to pay for college, and it was HCA that would make that possible. We had students share that it was their own experiences as a patient at our local HCA hospital that inspired them to consider a healthcare career pathway. And now HCA is helping jumpstart that career. We even had a student share that she wanted to be a trauma surgeon. And not only is it HCA helping jumpstart that education for her, but HCA provided 300 volunteer hours inside the walls of their hospital so that during high school, while in our district family, that student got the experience that she will now combine with education. So there are so many ways that HCA Healthcare is helping support and partner to empower our students locally to excel with future healthcare pathways and careers. So I'd love to invite Denise to come share a few words about our partnership.
Thank you. Good evening.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks for the opportunity to be here. One of HCA's community engagement strategies is to increase opportunity and access to healthcare careers. So we're continually looking for organizations we can partner with to help us do that. And about a year ago, we were introduced to the Consortium of Education Foundations. And for those of you who may not know who that is, they're sort of like an umbrella over all the education foundations in Florida. So fast forward to about a month ago, the HCA Healthcare Foundation invested $1 million to the consortium to fund 15 programs, as Megan was talking about, to help with career pathways in healthcare careers. And so Marion County is one of those 15 programs.
Fantastic.
Well, I'm going to bring it home and local. I'm Alan, the CEO of the hospital, and just so grateful for the testimony of the students here that are going to change lives in our community. And that's what this is all about, is developing local talent that'll stay in Marion County, hopefully, after they go and travel and have all their skills. But more importantly, the CTE education provides for certifications and training where they can earn a living now, provide health care now, even in high school, and if they don't go to college. So there's an exceptional opportunity for all these students, and we're just so thankful to be a part of this. And our dollars, about $60,000 over 3 years, will go to students at Bellevue, Lake Weir, North Marion, and Westport high schools. And we are absolutely committed to this endeavor and support the county and all of the great students that will go into healthcare. But thank you for this opportunity.
No, thank you. It's just such a great new partnership, and we couldn't be more grateful. We definitely want to come down and take a picture, with you. But first, I just wanted to say that, work-based learning opportunities, those are what creates windows of opportunity for our students. And the healthcare career pathways that will come from this will just really is already making a huge difference in kids and having these opportunities. So thank you so much, and that's a very big check.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Yes. Well, shall we come down?
Personal bungos right here.
Right.
What's this?
So they've been really tight ever since. That's awesome. Yeah. Small world.
Okay. That's awesome. All right, we will move on. It looks like we have another recognition to share.
We do, and I am very pleased to introduce a new member of our team, Madam Chair, members of the board. Her name is Lynn Taylor, and she is the new Executive Director for Business Services. Ms. Taylor, I'm going to put you on the spot and have you just come forward to the podium. You don't have to do anything, you just have to come forward. I just want to introduce her to everyone and share a little bit about her background that she brings to our wonderful team. She worked in finance and operations and the legal and nonprofit industries before coming to Marion County Public Schools. And she also began as an assistant business administrator for finance at a school district in New York. And within 2 years, she advanced to the role of assistant superintendent for business. She managed accounting, auditing, budgeting, purchasing, just a few things, food services, facilities, transportation, security, and technology. She's had quite a few accomplishments. One was overseeing a $66.9 million capital project, and we are just excited to have her here. She also has some background in human resources and negotiations. So welcome, Ms. Taylor, to the team. We're glad to have you. Lynn Taylor.
Absolutely, welcome.
Thank you very much.
A woman of few words. And I saw you walked up with a notebook, and I thought, okay, she takes her ledger with her wherever she goes. But honestly, welcome to Marion County Public Schools. We're so glad to have you, and along with all of your deep expertise. So welcome to the team. Okay. All right. We will move on to donations, which we would normally recognize at this point in our agenda. However, we do not have any this evening, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Dr. Gullett, would you please make a recommendation on tonight's school board meeting agenda?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend approval of the agenda for the July 9th, 2024 school board meeting with the materials you have in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting, with the exception of the following items: D20.1, D20.2, D20.3, D20.4, D20.5, D20.6, D20.7, and C15.1 that has been placed under discussion. And the informational item 9.1 has been moved to discussion pulled agenda items. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Campbell.
Second.
Second by Board Member Cummings. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the June 11th, 2024 school board meeting?
So move.
Moved by Board Member Cummings. Second. Second by Vice Chair Conrad. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. Ms. Martinez, would you please provide the proof of publication for tonight's school board meeting?
The notice for the July 9th, 2024 school board meeting ran in the Ocala Gazette on June 28th, 2024. The proof of publication has been attached in board docs under proof of publication.
Thank you, Ms. Martinez. We'll move on now to persons requesting to address the board, and I'll ask our school board attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board this evening. Good evening, Attorney Powers.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In compliance with Section 286.0114 of Florida statutes, the school board has adopted uniform procedures for public speakers who wish to speak at this evening's meeting, either regarding one of today's agenda items or a matter relating to the operations of the school board. These procedures will ensure the public has a reasonable opportunity to be heard on school board and school district matters. A written summary of these procedures are available from the table in the lobby. Public speaker forms are also located on the same table. The completed forms were due to the school board's clerk no later than 5:40 p.m. This evening's speakers will be called prior to the business portion of the school board's meeting in the order of receipt by the school board clerk. Before you begin speaking, please state your full name for the record and spell your last name. Each speaker will have 5 minutes of time. However, if there are more than 5 persons who wish to speak, the board may seek consensus to limit each speaker's time to 3 minutes. When the speaker has 1 minute remaining, the speaker will receive a visual notice to complete his or her comments. Speakers may not yield their time to other people. Speakers and meeting attendees are expected to conduct themselves in a respectful manner. Therefore, verbal attacks and profanity are strictly prohibited. Pursuant to the procedures for public comments, item 6, speakers are not to identify specific individuals other than themselves or their child unless a statement is provided 24 hours in advance. The board is here to listen to your comments only. You may be directed to an administrative staff member following the conclusion of your comments for further assistance to address your concerns. If there are matters dealing with student discipline, including expulsions, they'll be scheduled at the conclusion of the televised portion of the meeting. Parents may address the board regarding a discipline matter at that time. To ensure student privacy, only a parent or guardian may use a student's first or last name. Identifying references to or identification of other students and/or their families are also strictly prohibited. A speaker's speech does not reflect the endorsement, sponsorship, position, or expression of the school board. Thank you for your attention to this board's requirements. Madam Chair, that concludes my explanatory remarks.
Thank you, Attorney Powers. Ms. Martinez, do we have any speakers this evening?
Yes, Madam Chair. Keith Fair.
Thank you. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, greetings all. I was here 2 weeks ago and didn't quite finish completing the presentation, so I hope you welcome me back to complete my thoughts. I'm here this evening following up from 2 weeks ago to let you be aware that, and I'm pretty sure everybody's conscious of this, we have a housing crisis in Marion County right now. And I want to finish this presentation by saying the Housing Finance Authority has an opportunity to be able to fix this crisis, but we need support. It's going to take a collective effort from the city, the county, the school board, CEP, foundations, financial institutions, the HFA, and the acceptance from the citizenship of Marion County. Our proposed plan is to work with the city and the county officials vetting affordable multifamily developments through a detailed developer's application. The application will be reviewed by the HFA staff and then presented to the HFA board. If the application scores well and the development meets the Live Local Act guidelines, then the developer will present their affordable multifamily development to the HFA board. If the HFA board votes and approves the development, then the HFA chair will sign an endorsement letter. In closing, the Florida Impact Fee Act, Chapter 163, Section 31801 of the Florida 2021 Florida statute governs that impact fees for the state. In that statute, item number 11, a county, municipality, or special district may provide exceptions or waivers for an impact fee related to a development or construction of affordable housing, as defined in Statute 429071. It is my understanding that the school board has the rights to waive fees on affordable multifamily developments that would meet the Live Local Act guidelines. In closing, I just wanted to say that our office gets a lot of calls. In the last 2 weeks, we've had calls from police officers, one of your school bus drivers, teachers, county and city employees asking for help on affordable rents. And we have a plan that we can take and help this county with our housing crisis. So our ask is that Marion County School Board accept our offer that they will consider on a case-by-case basis waiving new impact fees on any HFA-vetted affordable multifamily developments. Each presented waiver request would have an endorsement letter signed by the HFA chair and has met the affordability approvals of the city and the county. Any questions?
No, but thank you very much, and appreciate you coming back and sharing the rest of your comments with us.
Okay, thank you. I think I did it in less than 5 minutes.
You did.
Melanie Slaughter.
Good evening, Ms. Slaughter.
Good evening. Since the board's last meeting 2 weeks ago with regards to the new high school, I have been inundated by phone calls and people stopping in to talk to me about it, and people that do not have a very advanced education, but they do have common sense. And the common sense is what is missing from a group of individuals, that being the builders and developers of this county, who want to continue to build and impact our county with more students, more people, more traffic, more everything, and not pay for it. And it is ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Administrative procedures, how you guys decide how you're gonna pick somebody to build a school, is not what's best for students. It is what is best for adults. It is what's best for developers. It is what's best for builders. And since 2007, the local builders in this community have done everything they can to not pay impact fees. They've done everything they can to not pay their fair share. They've done everything they can to get it waived, and it was in 2011. And then what happened when the economy got better and they were able to build and they were able to make more money? Did they come back and say, well, thank you. Thank you for not making us pay impact fees for 5 years or 10 years. We are making a ton of money now. We want to pay our fair share. No. They fought you for years. For 2 years, they fought and did everything they could do to stop impact fees. And then what do they want to do? They want to come back and say, well, we want a local preference because we've done everything we can to not fund schools. So now that you want to build them, give them to us. And that is ridiculous. So this guy came in and said, look, administrative procedures are best for adults, not for kids. Building schools is what's better for kids. Local builders are what's best for adults. Getting the best builder that can build the school the fastest is what's best for kids. Delaying construction is what's best for adults. Accelerating construction so these children have a place to go is what's best for kids. I've been in juvenile court the last 3 weeks. They're all from Westport. Why? For the most part, every single one of them. And why is that? Because the school is too big, it's overcrowded, and nobody can manage a group of children that big. We're trying to build a 3,500 student high school, and you, as a board, cannot make a decision. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous. And then I get emails from parents, explain to me, this is what they're asking the board to explain. Why are we delaying the building of a school to accommodate a group of people who did everything they can to not fund the schools? I have no idea. Why are the people of this county asked to pay sales tax when the group of people, that being builders and developers who created the problem, fought everything they could do to not have to pay a dime? I don't know. Why are we giving a preference to local builders and developers who have not paid impact fees since 2011, even when the market rebounded and they continue to build as fast as they could and not agree to pay for the increase in students, the increase in traffic, and the impact on our quality of life? I don't have any idea. Our children need schools now, not later. We do not have enough space for the children that we are coming into this county each and every day. Every delay of the school is costing the people of this county money. Each and every day, it's more expensive. Each and every day, more students are coming in. And while the builders keep building and making money each and every day, every delay is costing the taxpayers more money. And you're asking the taxpayers of this county to pay a sales tax to fund schools. Then don't delay the school, because they're not going to want to pay sales tax when it keeps getting delayed, because we're expected to pay it, but the builders are not. And the prime example of that is what the speaker that was just ahead of me. Okay? Because I don't know who you think needs affordable housing, but it's people with children. And you waive impact fees, you are going to create a worse problem, because those people may be able to build affordable housing, but their children are not going to have a place to go and learn in this county. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Slaughter. Do we have any other speakers?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on to an informational item. GWP Construction Incorporated is in the process of installing new sanitary sewer lines along Northeast 36th Avenue for the county. These lines will cross in front of the Booster Stadium property in the county's right-of-way. The purpose of the temporary construction easement is to allow grantee GWP Construction Incorporated and other construction activities upon the described lands at Booster Stadium to have a temporary materials and equipment laydown area not to exceed 0.5 acres at the northeast corner of the property for 30 days. Temporary construction easement to GWP Construction Incorporated for temporary materials and equipment laydown area related to new sewer lines along Northeast 36th Avenue. All right, that concludes the informational items. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C 11.1 through C 18.3, with the exception of items D 20.1, D 20.2, D 20.3, D 20.4, D 20.5, D 20.6, D 20.7, and C 15.1 that have been placed under discussion, and the informational item 9.1 that has been pulled and placed under discussion pulled agenda items. May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Moved by Board Member Cummings. Second by Vice Chair Conrad. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. Next, I wish to acknowledge that board members have received the alternative placement list for students through May 24th, 2024. We'll now move on to our regular agenda items discussions. We'll start with agenda item 20.1. May I have a motion to approve the changes to the self-funded insurance plan?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member Campbell. Second by Vice Chair Conrad. Dr. Gullett, do you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
I do. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. The cost for this item, should you approve it, is $54.8 million. This is for our annual employees' insurance benefits. And you may recall, board, that there were 2 work sessions this year, April 11th, 2024, June 20th, most recently of 2024. This item also includes a 2% increase at the cost of about $3.5 million, which would be effective January 25 to include the medical and pharmacy claims that were discussed at the work session. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. We'll open it up for board discussion. Is there any discussion or comments from the board? All right, hearing none, I will just say that I'm very grateful that more than a couple of years ago now, we did take the leap into self-funded. It has paid off for us. I'm sure that's because of our partnership with our provider, and it's even more meaningful because when I hear around the other counties and speaking with other school board members how they're really struggling trying to hold down costs with their insurance providers, and a 2% increase in this market, it truly is remarkable. So thank you to all that helped make that happen. Sounds like we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the agreement with Pace Center for Girls Incorporated?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Conrad, second by Board Member Campbell. Dr. Gullett, do you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Just briefly, thank you, Madam Chair. So the cost of this item is $425,000, and this allows us to have an agreement with the Pace Center for Girls. Obviously, it provides an opportunity for dropout prevention for students that need additional support in an alternative education site. So we look forward to answering any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any discussion or comments from the board? All right. I actually have just a couple of questions, just confirming that the funding source is general fund discretionary. That's correct, right?
He's just giving a thumb. Teresa gave it.
Yes.
Okay. Good evening, Ms. Boston. You are directly behind me, so I didn't see you.
You have to look for the bright yellow.
Yes, I had to look for the bright yellow jacket. And I'm just wondering about that a little bit because it is a partnership with the Department of Juvenile Justice, or at least it's something that they are very much in favor of. So I guess I was just wondering, wouldn't it be great if we had some grant funding from the Department of Juvenile Justice so it didn't all come out of our general fund? It's a great program. I look forward to voting yes, but it also just kind of struck me that for a unique program like this, and I think we've talked about this before, if you recall, Board Member Campbell, wouldn't it be wonderful to have one for our male students as well, a male PACE? And if we're going to look at maybe trying to do something like that, it'd be great to get some grant funding from the Department of Juvenile Justice, I'm saying. So, Dr. Hembrook, I see you out there. I guess that's more comment than it is question, and something to think about for the future. So that's really all I had. All right. We'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. All right. Moving on to agenda item D 20.3. May I have a motion to approve the request for proposal 4063RC and resulting agreement for group life insurance?
So move.
Moved by Board Member Cummings. Second by Vice Chair Conrad. Dr. Gullett, you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Thank you. Well, as you stated, Madam Chair, it is for group life insurance for our employees, including our retirees. The cost of $1.9 million, that is for 3 years.
Okay. Thank you. Is there any discussion from the board? All right. Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. Moving on to D20.4, may I have a motion to renew bid 4009 GM, carpet and vinyl and flooring supply and installation?
Motion.
Motion by Vice Chair Conrad,
Second.
second by Board Member Cummings. Dr. Gullett, you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Yes, thank you. It's pretty routine, but it does cost $800,000 for us to be able to purchase carpet and vinyl flooring, the supplies, installation across the district for our classrooms and other district spaces.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. Is there any discussion or comments from the board?
Chair, my only comment would just be that while this is a costly endeavor, I think the more opportunities that we have to go with polished concrete or something that doesn't require so much maintenance, I would be in full support of.
Thank you for that, Board Member Campbell. And yes, when I see vinyl, I think about the vinyl planking that has become popular now that is a lot more durable, and I'm sure polished concrete would be even more durable, both hard. So, yes, something to think about for the future. It seems like they're coming up with all kinds of innovative flooring, and hopefully we can continue to look for those opportunities. Any other comments or discussion from the board? Hearing none, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. Moving on to item D20.5, may I have a motion to approve the Clay County Schools bid 24-F-247 for aluminum ramps and stairs county-wide? May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Vice Chair Conrad.
Second.
Second by Board Member Campbell. Dr. Gullett, do you have more information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just simply, as you stated, the portable ramps and stairs, this would be a 3-year contract. If you approve $400,000, we are looking to piggyback off of the contract from Clay County Schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. Is there any discussion or comment from the board?
I have one question.
Yes, Vice Chair Conrad.
Yes, and I'm not sure this, Dr. Gullett, this might be for you, but when I read over this item, I was thinking about our facility tours that we went on earlier, and that we had a lot of ramps and we had a lot of stairs, but we didn't have coverings for those ramps. So is that a second piece we're looking at, or no, it's just not in the?
That is not, Vice Chair Conrad, that is not covered under here, so that would be an additional cost.
Okay,
Yes.
are we looking at that? Is that the next step?
We're always looking at it. If we get some funds, absolutely.
Okay.
And I mean, obviously we were just talking before the meeting about rain and storms in Florida, and obviously that would be great for our students and staff and visitors to have.
And that's what I was thinking of when we went to Ward Highlands Elementary, and we saw the portable city, and there were plenty of ramps and stairs, but there were not any coverings. So I just wanted to touch base on where we are in that as we're moving forward. So thank you.
That would be a goal. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Conrad. Any more comment or discussion from the board regarding this item? Yes, Board Member Campbell.
Sure, I completely concur with the covering need, but I also would be, as we find the funding, which is the operative opportunity for us, but as we find the funding to pursue actually replacement of all of those with a new classroom building at that campus. That would be the most ideal. That campus, as well as others, could use new classroom buildings even before we go to the expense of having coverings on their walkways. So just a comment.
Absolutely, and Ward Highlands is in my district. Fort King Middle is in my district. They have a temporary portable city for the last 20, 25 years.
Maplewood.
Hillcrest School, as it has expanded, there's portables out back, and having to push a wheelchair, a student that is wheelchair bound, and hold an umbrella and keep track of the rest of your kids is definitely hats off to the teachers and paras that are doing that every day. It's a challenge, and it's certainly one that I'm pretty confident this whole board, were we be able to fund it, would like to see happen. I hate the idea of putting covered walkways where portable cities are, because then that just makes them even more permanent. But as we move along, we just have to confront reality. And if it's cheaper to put covered walkways for now till we have enough money to build another wing, then we have to do what we have to do. All right, a lot of need. Any more comments? Hearing none, All right, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. Moving on to D20.6. May I have a motion to approve the revised confidential employee wage and salary schedule?
So moved.
Moved by Board Member Cummings,
Second.
second by Vice Chair Conrad. Dr. Gullett, you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. This item is with regard to the Department of Labor ruling change and we're asking that those employees, we're going to change the confidential employees, I know Ms. Edning, just a moment, from the salaried positions to the hourly positions, and they would be eligible for overtime pay. Ms. Adnick is here and ready on behalf of Ms. Morant and on behalf of Human Resources with additional information and to answer any questions. But again, moving from the salaried positions to the hourly positions with eligibility for overtime.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. Any questions from the board for Ms. Adnick?
I think she had.
Go ahead. Okay.
I think she had something to say before we ask questions.
Sorry. Okay, lead us off, Ms. Adnick.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Good evening, Chair Thrower, board members, and Superintendent Gullett. It's a pleasure to be here this evening to present on behalf of Ms. Morant. The Wage and Hour Division of the Department of Labor has issued updates for regulations under the Fair Labor Standards Act that have taken effect as of July 1, 2024. These changes impacted the exemption from minimum wage and overtime pay requirements, increasing the earning thresholds to reflect current earnings data for executive, administrative, or professional employees. The updated exemption status is a minimum threshold of $43,888, increased from $35,568 per year. The threshold will again increase on January 1, 2025 to be $58,656. These updates impact employees on the Marion County Public Schools Confidential Employees Salary Schedule, specifically the positions of Confidential Secretary, Executive Secretary 1, Executive Secretary 2, and Paralegal. In order to determine how to move forward in the best interest of both the district and our employees, a survey was disseminated to all secretaries on the Confidential Employees Salary Schedule to inquire the average number of hours worked each week beyond the employee's 8-hour workday. The response was an average of 5 hours per week. The resulting financial impact of potential overtime pay was determined to be the most fiscally responsible way to address impacted positions as compared to increasing the salaries for all steps and positions on the Confidential Employees Salary Schedule. As a result, the positions of Confidential Secretary, Executive Secretary 1, and Executive Secretary 2 will be reflected on a Confidential Employees non-exempt wage schedule with hourly pay noted for each step level. The positions of paralegal, administrative assistant, and executive assistant to the school board will remain in an exempt status and will be represented on a separate salary schedule for confidential employees exempt.
Thank you, Ms. Adnick. And I know there was a couple of questions or comments from the board. We'll start with Board Member Campbell and just work our way down.
Sure, just looking at how words matter on this, and I don't know if you can hear me.
I don't think you're.
Okay, my mic is green, but
And you're
not
go.
sure. Okay. In how this is written, it does just say non-exempt wage schedule, and my question would be, does it need to say hourly wage schedule? Because the amounts listed below are hourly wages, but nowhere on this form does it say the word hourly. So that would be my only question.
Thank you. That is standard or in alignment with our other wage schedules that state the same thing, wage schedule at that time of the act.
Oh,
Lost you too.
we lost you too. So let's give it just a second, see if we can bring these back to life. I was talking, but try talking again.
Yeah, mine's.
No, yours is dead. Okay.
Okay, we'll try it.
And Ms. Zadnik, go ahead and try to speak, please. It's okay.
Okay, her mic is.
Oh, now it's green. There we go.
Oh, now you're green. All right.
Mine is green, but it's.
You're back on.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And just to say that is in keeping with the other wage schedules, that they are stated in that same way.
Are you okay? Do you need to say anything?
It's fine.
Okay. All right, Vice Chair Conrad?
Okay. First, I want to say, Ms. Adnick, you have a voice that's just calming. When she comes to present, it just, it's kind of like Ms. Teresa Boston Ellis when she comes, even though she's always talking about money, it always is calming. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much.
I just had a question, which I did speak with Ms. Morant about, but I kind of just wanted to share it because it came up earlier when we were talking about staffing plans. And so if you could go over for me, when a secretary feels the need, so maybe at the beginning of the school year or at the end of the school year, there's going to be some extra hours. What does that approval process look like?
Yes, ma'am, that's a great question. I believe Dr. Talbot Irving can speak to those procedures this evening.
Okay.
Dr. Living,
Dr. Brewer. Dr. Brewer's coming down. She's getting her steps in tonight.
Hi, good evening again. I worked closely with Dr. Talbot Irving and Ms. Boston Ellis this morning and consulted with Becky Drake. So we were able to provide clear procedures that we shared with the principals and department leads today. And what a person would do is if they knew they were anticipating extra hours, they would submit an overtime request that explained the justification for those hours, and then they would submit it to their immediate supervisor. Their immediate supervisor will then send it to their immediate supervisor. So for the schools, it would be the area superintendents. And then at that point, we would approve it and send it back to the secretary. They will attach that to their timesheet, and then that will be sent to Ms. Becky Drake.
All right, thank you for that. And so my next is just kind of a comment. And so when we were reviewing staffing plans and we talked about, we set those staffing plans according to numbers traditionally, how many students, how big the school is, and so that gives us our secretary or our bookkeeper. And we have some schools that don't really fit into that model because they collect so much more money than a typical school of that size. So although their numbers may be lower, the amount of money that they manage and are responsible is quite high. And so I just wanted to offer, as our area superintendents are looking at approving overtime for different schools, that we have a few schools that their overtime may look a little different than a traditional school. And so I just wanted to bring that forward.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Chair Conrad. Board Member James.
Thank you. I think my question's for Dr. Brewer, too. So my question, I had one of my questions was the same as Vice Chair Conrad, so thank you for asking that. My other question is what I think will happen more often than the situation that Ms. Conrad presented, which is when we do not know that we're going to hit overtime. And so could you talk to, please, the process for a person retroactively requesting overtime after a pay period has ended or whatever that timeline that is existing in the procedures that you've developed? What does that look like? Because it will happen. I think that it's important, and I have aired this with many of the district leaders, but I think it's important just for the record. I hear and understand that secretaries are the person who answers the phone at 5:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday, 180 days out of the year. So they are the individual when the teacher is sick or her son is sick or her daughter or her grandma or her cat, it doesn't matter, or when the custodian, that secretary is the person at pretty much every school that is managing the chaos of what comes next. And that happens at 5:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning. It definitely happens outside of the duty day as defined by the school schedule. So that can't be planned other than knowing that every single day something is going to happen and having some standard pre-approved amount of hours. I would like to understand what that procedure will look like for retroactive approval and understanding that you can't anticipate all of the things that come with dealing with small humans every day. So can you speak to that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we know it's going to happen. And we also know that we will pay people for the job, for the work that they do, and for the hours they put in. And so we will approve those on the same form that was submitted during our first call with Human Resources, and it will just explain exactly what you just said. It happened, say the timesheets had to be submitted on a Wednesday, this event happened on a Thursday. We'll just make sure that that's documented and dated clearly, and then we'll submit that to payroll for payment.
And is there going to be an established method for how that hourly employee is now going to log and keep track of how much time they afforded and how much attention was afforded in the wee hours of the morning or in the late hours of the night that are outside of their duty day as established at the school?
Yes, in that timesheet, we want them to write clearly their hours on that sheet. And what we've asked the principals to do is to monitor those timesheets and then make adjustments, because it might be something that we realize a receptionist can take care of some tasks that usually a secretary was doing. And so this will be a good way for us to help our own schools be able to manage the job responsibilities of what a secretary is doing and maybe delegate those tasks to other personnel in the front office.
Does the guidance that you've given provide like, is it to the 15-minute, to the 30-minute, to the minute? Are the secretaries going to be afforded the privilege of rounding up or down? What does that look like? So if I'm working on a task for 30 minutes in the morning before my duty day, but it was like maybe 25 or maybe it was 32 minutes, am I putting 30? Is there guidance as to what I should put?
We did not specify that, but usually we operate off of half-hour increments. So that would be the rule of thumb.
Okay. I think that establishes all of my questions for now. I will move forward with this item because Ms. Boston-Ellis believes that this is the way that we should go. I personally am dealing with this as a business owner myself, and it's a hard pill to swallow because it's a very significant salary increase for one of my employees. But I do think that in a year from now, we're going to step back and see that we probably should just bring everybody up to what the guideline is. And that's just my personal opinion, so we'll reconvene in a year on it. But we'll move forward with the recommendation from our CFO.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any more?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Board Member Cummings.
I think I've kind of heard the concerns that I had. My concern was initially that what happens when you go beyond the 5 hours, so you've kind of addressed that as well. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't locking ourselves in by saying just 5 hours when we know that it's going to go beyond that 5 hours, probably many more times than often. So
Yes.
that's been addressed.
Yes, sir.
All right, any other comments, discussion? All right, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you. All right, moving on to item D 20.7. May I have a motion to approve the contract for architectural design services for new middle school DD, project 24-130? Moved by Board Member Cummings.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Conrad. Dr. Gullett, you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Yes, just simply, as you said, thank you, Madam Chair. The project known as DD in the Silver Spring Shore area for Lake Weir Middle School at the cost of $2.9 million. Ms. Dobbins and Ms. Bomback are also available if we have any additional questions, Board. Thank you.
Thank you. Open up to discussion and questions from the board.
I don't have a question, I just have a comment. It just continues to surprise me, the rise in costs for everything that we do, but when you look at the cost for the architectural design at almost $3 million, I was just really shocked. So just bringing that to attention and light that building new schools is expensive, and it starts at the planning process. So that's all, Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair Conrad. Any other comments or discussion from the board? I will say that I concur with Vice Chair Conrad. You know, as a taxpayer, and you think, okay, architectural design, well, then you look at the 85-page contract, and it's a lot more than a picture. You know, it's 3 phases that includes everything down to the square inch, including managing the closeout process, including that always annoying punch list, because it seems like there's always one thing and one more thing at the end of any project. So I too was shocked by the amount of money, and also I realized that what we do as a school system, we can't just take any architectural firm, you know, they have to pass very stringent requirements. And while I'll always look to trying to give business as close to home as possible, we are also tasked as the fiscal agents to be fiscally responsible. And, you know, that narrows our options significantly. But I am glad, on a lighter note, to see so much interest in the community and hearing, well, you know, they really need to get rid of Lake Weir Middle because that school is just old and run down. And then other people will say, oh, they could just redo Lake Weir Middle. And so the community is starting to ask questions and starting to engage. And it's an opportunity always to share with the community that it is a cost-benefit ratio, you know, and when a school has reached long past its end of its useful life, there is a break point where it becomes more fiscally responsible to replace the school. So I'm grateful that we're moving forward. I'm really grateful that we're doing all we can to relieve the pressure and get some of these schools online as soon as possible. So if there's no more discussion, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. All right. Moving on to item D 20.8, may I have a motion to approve the piggyback agreement with Amerigus Healthcare Staffing Incorporated?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Board Member James.
Second.
Second by Vice Chair Conrad. Dr. Gullett, you have information you'd like to share regarding this item?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So this item is just over $4.1 million, and this, with your approval, will allow us to address a critical need, which is to have highly effective and qualified teachers in our ESC classrooms. So this is, as you said, a piggyback contract, and we look forward to any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. Any questions or comments from the board? Dr. James?
I was just hopeful that Ms. Williams-Jones could reiterate for the public record regarding when an employee, so the rate of pay is a little bit different for this, and I'm fully supportive of this item. I think this is amazing, and it's going to get qualified educators in front of some of our most needy students. So I would just like for the record to be reflective of, if I'm an existing ESE teacher, can I hop onto this plan? Once my first year is up with this company, can I hop on to MCPS? Could you just kind of highlight those things that you and I discussed so that everyone can kind of hear that for the record?
Yes, so those are great questions. So good evening, Chair Thrower, Superintendent Gullett, and School Board. The contract itself just kind of lays out the nuts and bolts, but there are a lot of things that are a part of this agreement that you can't see. So one of the things we were very clear about was that they can't recruit from within Marion County Schools. So there is a no-compete contract on their end, so our teachers aren't jumping ship to work for them. I also think that it's important for anyone who's looking at the contract language to understand that although the contract rate says $68 an hour, that is not what teachers are going to be paid. $68 an hour is the cost of doing business with this company, so it includes their recruitment and vetting and benefits package and all of those things that they offer the pool of candidates that they will make available to us. One of the things that was, I think, a very positive about this particular company is that at the end of this school year, so in the end of May 25, if any of the teachers who have been placed with us would like to leave the company and become Marion County school employees, there's no penalty to the district. We don't pay a finder's fee. There is no detriment to then being able to have those teachers come on board with us. And so part of what we are looking to be able to do is to create supportive environments so that we train these folks well, support them well, and so that Marion County Public Schools will be seen as the best option as they continue their educational career.
Thank you. I think that kind of summarizes what you and I spoke about. I just wanted everyone to kind of hear that. I didn't know, especially for the community listening and existing ESE teachers listening, understanding that this is an effort to cover our bases. In some of our classrooms that have been vacant of qualified educators for years, I think out to Fort McCoy in some of those units. And so I am grateful for this. And I in our conversation, equated it to travel nursing. In my brain, that's what it went to, is like this is like a travel nursing contract. And so my understanding of that is hospitals pay a premium price to get someone to come in for a period of time to cover a gap. And that's essentially what we're doing. And my hope would be that this community sells itself, which I think it will, and these individuals coming to Marion County will realize this is a great place to put your roots, and they will want to come work and play in Marion County. So I'm in full support, and thank you for articulating that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member James. That's exactly what I said, was it just sounds like travel nurses, and they certainly are very much embedded in our healthcare system. We know that finding and keeping high-quality ESE teachers is a challenge across the country, and when you don't have those, it creates a ripple effect across the whole school system. So I'll just leave my comments right there and see if there's any other comments from board members.
Just one.
Yes.
Because I said many of the same things when we were able to visit, but one thing I did ask for is for, and I'll leave this up to you, what a good time frame would be, just so the public is aware, where do we start, how many vacancies do we have, and how long some of those vacancies have been open. At Fort McCoy, we have some that are 4 years where we haven't had someone in that position. And so just to update us as, how those positions are being filled, how it's working out, how many positions we still have available, and just so we can keep up to date on the progress. It helps in our community conversation. So thank you very much.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Any other comments or questions from the board? Ms. Jones, I just wanted to thank you for bringing this forward to us. We've needed a solution for a very long time. Back in the day, kids with IEPs, their test scores weren't counted, and then they were counted in a little different way, and now they really count. And it's really important, we want kids to get the services they need no matter what their placement is. And I think that this has got the potential to go a long way in doing that. So thank you for your vision in bringing this forward to us. Look forward to getting some updates, and hopefully it's going to go really well, because we know we need it.
Thank you very much.
All right, if there's nothing further, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously, 5-0. Thank you. We will move on to our pulled agenda item. Just as a reminder to the board, this is a no vote item. This is item 9.1, which was informational. It's regarding the state audit for 2023-2024 fiscal year. Board Member James, you pulled this item and would like to have further discussion?
Yes, thank you, Chair. So I wanted to pull this, I requested this item get put on a board meeting agenda because I wanted it to be a forward-facing document readily available to our community. And under Ms. Bostonellis' guidance, the recommendation was to put all of our audits there, which is more than acceptable in my book. The audit that specifically I have questions about is the audit that we all did receive a briefing on, which I think is referred to as our operational audit, that had a few findings. And so ahead of a conversation that we're having on Thursday about procurement, I'm going to pass a document down for the rest of the board. Ms. Martinez also has the document and is going to upload it accordingly. I don't know whether to this item, I imagine, right?
Yes, it would be attached to this item.
So I think it's important to remind the public that the board doesn't have opportunity to have public discussion about items like this, except in a format that is public. And so while we were all briefed independently on the operational audit, we haven't had an opportunity to discuss it publicly. And some of the findings in that operational audit were attached to our procurement and facilities department. And so I think it's an important piece to the puzzle that we are addressing on Thursday. But furthermore, what I have provided for you, board, that you can review at your leisure, is just an outline of the changes in the procurement process that occurred from 2021 until 2023. There were some inconsistencies that I want to make sure that as we go into this procurement process conversation on Thursday that are included, which is why I wanted you all to have it ahead of Thursday's meeting. Essentially, the criteria has changed a couple different times, and as a board member myself, I believe that we should have been briefed on this, and so as we go into our conversation on Thursday, that is something that I would like to address as part of the conversation. But the other piece to the puzzle that I have concern about is that what was advertised and published, and you'll see it as part of the attachments here and what I provided to you, was not actually the criteria that was used for scoring. And I have concern over that and would hope that the board is going to be able to provide some oversight in this process going forward. So again, this will be uploaded for the community to review if so chosen, but the board, I would just request that you review it ahead of our conversation on Thursday. And again, this is an information item, so there is no vote, but I wanted the opportunity to share those thoughts with you all. And that pretty much concludes my comments, but if anyone has anything else to add, I'll engage in conversation with you all, certainly.
All right. Is there any discussion further from any board member?
My comments, and my mic's not on, but my comments are about, it's fine. I'll add my comments in my board comments. My comments are not about the procurement audit. Mine are specific to some of the other audits that are listed in this same item, but I can save that for my individual comments.
Okay. Any other comments from board members? All right. Hearing none. It's, as I said, it's not a votable item, so we'll go ahead and move on. We will move on now to board committee reports and concerns. I just wanted to start to make sure that I remembered it's time to have the person that serves on the Value Adjustment Board either continue, which has been me, or pick a new one. Just wanted to say I'm happy to continue serving. It's been a good opportunity, but I also, next year, I think that it would be good to have someone new begin while I'm still, on the board and can serve in any advisory capacity I can. Right now, it's been me and Dr. Gwendolyn Dawson, who has served well, truly, and faithfully. She is a business owner within the city, which is a requirement. So I'm happy to continue. I just need to let the county know.
Fine with me?
All right.
Fine with me.
Okay, all right. That takes care of that. Thank you. Ms. Martinez, anything from your seat?
No, Madam Chair, thank you.
Thank you. Anything from legal?
Nothing further from legal, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Gullett.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board. Just one item. I just want to thank and congratulate our entire district. If you didn't see the news release, we proudly earned accredited status for the district for the first time in our district history. This process didn't happen overnight. I first mentioned it when I came to Marion County and said, we're not quite ready, but we will be, and here we are. And that took a lot of work, a lot of effort. This process is rigorous. We started the official process over 2 years ago. And there, I want to just share this, the Cognia Global Commission. Some of these other names would probably be familiar to some other folks that are part of the governing structure. The Southern Association of Colleges and Schools, Council on Accreditation and School Improvement, people used to know SACS. the North Central Association Commission on Accreditation and School Improvement, and the Northwest Accreditation Commission. It's widely known across our country and even internationally. So a lot of hard work. I want to just thank everyone for all of their hard work and congratulate them, because this represents not just the district, but every single school. So we've moved from just high schools going through an accreditation process to a district-wide, inclusive of every single school. So really proud of all the work that everyone's doing, and just want to say thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Gullett. All right. And before we move into the rest of the board members, I did get out of order just because I wanted to make sure I mentioned Value Adjustment Board. I'll go ahead and do the meeting reminders. The next administrative briefing and work session has been scheduled for July 11th, 2024. There is a special school board meeting scheduled for July 11th, 2024 at 7:30 a.m. and on July 22nd at 1 p.m. There is a school board meeting scheduled for July 23rd at 5:30 p.m. That's our regular meeting. The following administrative briefing and work session has been scheduled for August 1st, 2024. So we have a busy schedule coming up these next few weeks. All right, Board Member Campbell.
I'll need a microphone.
Yes, you will. Sharing is caring. Oh, there you go.
Thank you. So because this is board committee reports in addition to board comments, I want to update you on last evening's City of Ocala Planning and Zoning Commission. So during last evening's P&Z, they did approve 2 multifamily projects that are going to directly impact the school system. Of course, those go to City Council for approval, but they passed with flying colors through Planning and Zoning. One, I believe Chair Thrower will be most interested in. It's 396 units going in behind the Publix on US 27, in between Quail Meadow and the Publix. That's directly across the street from Ocala Palms. There'll be a new 396 units, multifamily units going in there that will directly impact College Park Elementary, Howard Middle School, and Westport. Then there was another 528 quote-unquote luxury multifamily unit development that is being approved behind the Publix across the street from Trinity Catholic High School. And so that is slated to impact Saddlewood Elementary, Liberty Middle School, and Westport High School. So notice Westport in both of those cases. But I do believe that will, contingent on our conversations this Thursday, will most likely actually impact Elementary School X as opposed to Elementary School that's currently slated as Saddlewood because of its proximity to where Elementary School X is. Potentially, that kind of remains to be seen at this point. A couple of things to note. I did have conversation with the attorney of record on the luxury multifamily units, and he seemed to believe that because they are luxury, they won't have very many students in them. And so I don't know what that thought process is. Nevertheless, we don't have stipulation in our impact fee interlocal agreement to say a luxury gets something different than a non-luxury. But I also wanted to bring to your attention something I noticed in the staff report for the development, specifically going close to Quail Meadow. It stated, this is the staff report for the approval last evening. It stated, and I quote, "Both the elementary school and the high school are over capacity and will require paying school concurrency fees after July 2024, which will take place during the building permit stage prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy." Currently, our interlocal agreement doesn't mention concurrency, but as this board is aware, in our most recent intergovernmental meeting, a county commissioner, Commissioner Bryant, brought up the word concurrency. And now in the City of Ocala's own staff report going before City Council, and obviously last evening publicly before Planning and Zoning, they also mention school concurrency fees. So I highly recommend us as a board and Chair Thrower as our representative on the technical working group to start having conversations about concurrency. So I'm going to leave that out there, but I just wanted to make you all aware of just last evening at City of Ocala. I'm not sure how that worked its way in, but now that I'm saying it publicly, I'm sure they're going to find out a way that it made its way in. So moving on. I also wanted to address Mr. Fair, who has been now to see us twice. He's made a request for the school board to waive impact fees for affordable housing. Now that the impact fee conversation has been handed off to the county commission, I don't know that it is the school board's purview to waive affordable housing impact fees. That's number one. But number two would be similar to what Ms. Slaughter noted. While certainly affordable housing is a serious concern in our community, those same multifamily projects will most likely be the ones where students most reside. I think as we had Benish do the study and saw our student generation rates specific for multifamily units, I think it was shocking to a lot of folks to see just how many of our students live in multifamily units. So this board member is not in approval of moving forward with even considering a conversation of waiving impact fees on multifamily units, because they very well may be the ones that are going to have the greatest impact on our schools, specifically in the areas where they're built. So also for the community's information, that impact fee study and how those impact fees are coming in, those fees in specific communities will be used in those specific communities. It's not we collect fees in Northeast Ocala and we use them in Southwest. That's not how it works. But if a multifamily unit is going in across the street from Ocala Palms, Chair Thrower, we'll be able to actually use those dollars to impact College Park Elementary, Howard, and Westport High School. Same way with the ones that are going to be going in across from Trinity Catholic High School. So just wanted to make that statement as my individual board member position on how I feel about that. The other couple of things I wanted to mention were about the internal audits. So I am grateful that we had all of the information listed here, and I'm also grateful to the team, Dr. Gullett, for bringing in RSM as an internal auditor. So I had a conversation today with a community group asking me if we as a district look to other districts at best practices and how they do things, and I think this is one of them. I know Brevard and other school districts use RSM as an internal auditor, and kudos to this board for choosing the categories that we've chosen over the course of the last 2 years. I think these internal audits have definitely identified significant gaps and challenges that we experience. Specific to the ESSER funding audit as well as the timekeeping audit, both of those are most challenged because we do not have automated processes. And I know it states what the district will be doing is to automate our processes. But it was eye-opening to me as a board member a couple of years ago when we first went to automated work orders. I don't think I was aware until reading over this timekeeper audit that all of our timekeeping is manual, paper, people signing things, and the element of human error, intentional or not, is vast. And as a board member who is tasked with being fiscally responsible over those taxpayer dollars, I cannot sit idly by and let this district not automate everything we possibly can. Again, sitting from my individual board seat, we have to go with the 21st century and automate. Otherwise, we are wasting taxpayer dollars time and time again. Is there a significant cost? Absolutely. But it's a one-time startup cost, oftentimes, to get us on the right track. Training will take time, absolutely, all of those things. But what's best for students is often really hard for adults. And we're stuck in our ways of being paper-driven. We've got to flip that script. And I think these internal audits that the community now has access to see will show just the deficiency that we have experienced in those two key areas. Last things I'll mention, July 30th is also a scheduled special board meeting that we have, and Ms. Boston Ellis and I have been talking about that specific date because statute dictates the time that that meeting has to be. It cannot be before 5 p.m. on July 30th. And board, I have to make you aware, I will not be able to participate in that meeting unless it is held 7:30 or after. As long as 3 of you are here to accept the budget, terrific. But there is another meeting that I have to attend that evening that I will not be able to be in attendance. So I just wanted to make you all aware so y'all can check the July 30th date to make sure at least 3 of you can be here to accept the budget so that can move forward. And the last comment I'll make is that I'm looking very forward to our conversations on Thursday with the significant and robust agenda we have for our work session, and then to reconvene into our special board meeting to see what the next steps might be on our high school. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Board Member James.
Good evening. I don't have robust comments tonight, but I wanted to share some good news. About 3 or so months ago, Rondo with The Rock reached out to me and wanted to put a rock for teachers at North Marion High School. And so we started this conversation with the then principal, Miss Sales, and we started talking through what it would look like and how it could work. He had visited a school in Leesburg that had what he would consider a sanctuary for teachers. It had nothing to do with work and everything to do with just enjoying a space on a campus for adults. And he wants to duplicate that in Marion County. He speaks in volume about all of the work The Rock has done to meet students' needs. But just today in our conversation, in our meeting, in our planning, he highlighted that outside of the Public Ed Foundation, we don't really have a ton of organizations addressing our adults' needs within our organization. And so the Teacher Rock, which I don't think we have an exact name for yet, is coming to North Marion High School. And so we have a community member who's pledged $5,000, which is wonderful. And so we met today with a local contractor who's going to be donating their services, and a designer who's donating their services, and the new principal, Mr. Johnson, and myself, and Rondo, and we talked about the vision and what it's going to look like, and that teachers report back 4 weeks from yesterday, and it is going to be done before teachers show up in 4 weeks. So I can't wait for you all to see pictures when you visit or come see it in person, but I'm really excited for this to be a kind of a flagship of what this ROC program could do for our staff on our campuses, and duplicate it across as many schools as possible to just highlight that we hear and see the adults need a space too, and it's going to be really awesome. So that's all I wanted to share with you all. I have visited a few schools this week in conversation, and everybody, APs are back to work, and the schools are getting full of staff again, and they are getting all the things ready for the new school year. So I'm excited that I can't believe we start school in less than 5 weeks. So that's all I got.
All right, time is flying. Board Member Cummings.
Good evening. I really don't have a lot of things. I'm just trying to make sure. Why I'm in the park? When do they go back to school?
22nd, I think.
Go back to school?
22nd, I think. July 22nd, yeah.
I think we need to, and I asked that question because when I look at the Marion County Public Schools site, it's nowhere on there.
Are you talking about returning for fall semester? I mean, returning for, in August?
Year-round school.
Year-round school.
Oh, for year-round school, okay, I didn't hear that part, sorry.
This should be on that front page. We have upcoming events on that front page. I'm just asking the superintendent if we please make sure that goes on that front page. Because parents need to know that. We're 2 weeks away from that, and we need to be kind of putting that out there a little bit more than we have. We cannot continue to just not engage that community of parents that's going to be having kids going back to school in a couple of weeks. That's it.
Okay. That's it. Vice Chair Conrad.
Okay, I only have a few things, too. I believe we received an invitation for Stuff the Bus. It's Monday and Tuesday of next week, 15th and 16th, to help set up tables and prepare for backpack delivery.
Sorry, I don't think I got that email.
You did not? Okay, so let me start over. I was under the assumption it went to everyone, so I apologize very much for that. So I received an email about Stuff the Bus. They were looking for some assistance. It is Monday and Tuesday. The event starts at 9, but they asked if any board members would be able to come at 8 to help set up tables and supplies.
If you want to forward that email to me, I'll be happy to distribute to all board members.
Sure.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Should I leave it at that?
No, that's fine. I'm just letting you know in order to make sure that everybody has
Everybody gets the
those
same thing.
reminders.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you very much. So I'll forward that to Attorney Powers, and he'll send it out to you. I'm planning on going on Tuesday. I'm unavailable Monday, but I hope to see you there. I also wanted to invite you, Sunday, August 4th, Church of Hope is praying over our schools again. I wanted to give board members the first opportunity to respond. So when I visit with Pastor Mark, I'd like, if you want, to be able to attend a school that's in your district. And so if you could get back to me, if you're able to attend, and if you have a school of preference. I'll try, and thank you, Board Member Campbell, you did respond, so I appreciate that. I just would like to accommodate you as best as possible. I had on my notes also Waimea Park, that they're getting ready to start school soon, and I don't know, Mr. Christian, did you do a call out? It seems like I got something. Did you do a call out about year-round school? Okay, all right, so we've had a little bit of communication so far. It is coming fast. It's hard to believe. Okay, and then my last comment is I wanted to ask if we could designate a time on Thursday for our discussion on the recommendation for construction management services for the new high school, just because at our last meeting, we invited and encouraged the community members to come and participate. And so since it is in the middle of the day and we have a very long agenda, or at least I feel like it's a very detailed agenda, can we set a specific time to say we're going to stop and address this topic?
You certainly may. I mean, that's...
Okay.
Dr. Gullett, I believe that there had already been a request to move that agenda item to the final agenda item.
Yes, Madam Chair, that's correct. A board member had asked if we could put that at the end so that the speakers or anyone who wanted to attend, they would be here for that prior to going into a board meeting.
Okay, because it is easier to have a time certain, to have that time certain be at when we start the work session at 9 a.m. We will have to estimate towards the end of the day when we would reach that topic. So for me, it's 6 one, half dozen the other. I don't like to sit and wait, and I don't want anyone else to have to sit and wait. And so the easy answer would be we could make that our first item, and hopefully people can get there at 9 o'clock. If that doesn't seem workable, then we'll move it to the end, and there'll just need to be some monitoring. Or another option would be to, and I don't have it up in front of me, would be to just give it a time certain, and that'll be when we'll do the topic. But, I'm open to anything.
Okay. I appreciate that, Chair Thrower. And when I looked through the agenda, my guesstimate was 1 o'clock. I don't know if everyone's comfortable with selecting a time. That's my guess as I looked through the agenda, because we have some heavy items first thing on the agenda.
I will note that early on the agenda, I had Mr. McGraw speaking, but that has been moved to our August 1st, I think.
Oh, so item 7.1 is withdrawn?
Item 7.1 is going to be withdrawn, and I was going to just briefly give some explanation about Mr. McGraw's out of country at the moment,
Okay.
so he's going to be prepared to introduce everything to you at the next available work session.
So
that may free some of our time.
Okay, and I feel like some of our more experienced board members may be able to, if you have a better pacing idea, I welcome it.
You can't hear me, but part of the question. Sure. Maybe we can get Ms. Martinez' mic. Part of the question would be is if we intend to break for lunch at all, and so, or if we are having a 10-minute break here or a 20-minute, that's usually what causes the time to go on. And so I was thinking 1 to 2 is what I was thinking about. 2 o'clock, honestly, was the time frame that I was thinking that we might go into that board meeting. But again, that's not really having any indication. But that would be, I guess we could even decide now if we want to break for
20 minutes to go grab a bite or whatever. But that's something that we can figure out if we want to decide now.
What I don't want to do is have our staff as well, being in the middle of a presentation, then having to stop, and then they wait, and then who knows how long this is going to go on. So it would honestly be my preference to say we're going to start at 9. That'll be the first item. Let's go. And let's get it taken care of. That would be my preference, but like I said, I'm open to.
Chair?
Yes.
Potentially the only challenge with that is just because there'll be such a gap between that conversation and when we actually vote. And so, but let's go for a moment. There's nothing to say, I guess, and this, I'm looking directly at Attorney Powers, to say that in the middle of the work session, that we pause the work session, reconvene our special board meeting, or do we have to have that special board meeting at the end of the entire work session?
You can pause and reconvene, because you will have been suspending it in the beginning.
Right.
You can pause, reconvene, and move on. You can recess and reconvene. I mean, it just gets a little lengthy with with how you do things, but it's easy enough to do. You can do it 5 times in a meeting if you choose.
Sure. So essentially, if we moved that item 9.1 up to the first item, and then Chair, we go into a recess or whatever on our work session and immediately come out of recess of our special school board meeting. I know there'll be some things that Mr. Christian and Ms. Martinez would have to work out on how that would
We have
work.
additional items that are going to be heard, school board meeting related items that are going to be heard after that?
Not on air.
Right, then that's fine, yeah.
Chair?
Yes.
Since it was my request to move it to the end, I just want to offer, I think because it's been published in this manner, people have planned their days according to the agenda as it's published, meaning looking at the agenda right now, it's the last item. So when they've scheduled their day, they've scheduled things in the morning, knowing that we're probably not going to get to it until the time frame in which we all have kind of guessed up here. So, I mean, I'm in agreement that 1 to 2 o'clock is probably an appropriate time frame, but I also can agree that I don't want to stop anyone's presentation midstream to address this item. So I think we'll probably be there about 1 o'clock. I think if the community is following along, they can easily gauge it and they can follow along and see that we're getting pretty close and we're at this item, or we've taken a break for lunch and said we're going to come back, whatever that looks like. But because it's been published in this fashion, I wouldn't want to change it and then disrupt people's schedules who have already tried to prioritize their time to come speak.
Understood. I was under the impression that it had just gotten moved to the end. Is that incorrect?
No.
Before we published?
Yeah, it was moved before we published.
Okay. All right, then, yes, I hear you and I agree.
And I think if we just make sure to share that with our staff too, if they're towards the end of our program, that we let them know there may be some flexibility for them too, because as much as I don't want to hinder our community members, I also don't want to waste the time of our staff members.
And there was also a request for legislative priorities to be moved up due to availability of staff.
Yes.
So we would be starting with that, I guess, then at 9 a.m. I just thought about that.
Yes, correct. I was getting ready to add that right after the briefing, if that works for the board. My request is going to be to move that item up.
Okay. Right. This is where YouTube is our friend. People can be tracking and keeping track. We've got, do we want to say that we'll break for lunch at noon and do a 30-minute break?
Or as close to it without interrupting anyone's work, right?
Right.
So whatever.
As soon as practicable. Yes.
Yeah, whenever an item finishes as close to that. I'm fine with that.
We'll shoot for about noon for break so that staff can plan. That means we'll begin with the legislative priorities, and then we'll move into rezoning information, radio service payment.
ESC policies and procedures.
Yes, and that also, we're removing item 7.1, so that'll shorten things up a little bit. All right.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Board, for some flexibility in that. I appreciate it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Yes, and I'll be brief. I know that the Ocala Horse Alliance had their annual fundraiser for the Black Stallion Reading Project. I understand that it was very successful, and they did it when they had to do it, so it was too bad that none of us were able to attend because it was a school board meeting night. But obviously that wasn't intentional on their part. But it sounds like it was a success, a roaring success, or a whinnying success, or whatever you want to say. And it appears that we will have the Black Stallion Reading Project again next year. So that's great news for our kids. Yes, Board Member Campbell, I'm well aware of the development across the street from me and also down the street from me next to Trilogy and the impacts that is having. And I think I've mentioned this before, that it becomes kind of a challenge accepted driving to work at certain times now to try to make the lights to get under I-75 and avoid all the trucks turning to go up the Warehouse Road. It could take anywhere from 12 minutes to 25 minutes, depending on how that works out for you. So yes, the development continues, and I agree with you that we have had impact fees for approximately 8 days. So to entertain any thought of waiving them for any reason, perhaps I would have a different opinion if it hadn't taken us 2 years to reinstate them, but it is what it is. So that's a complete non-starter for me. But on a lighter note, I also wanted to share in terms of transparency that all of our audits, of which there are many, I think upwards of 30 in any given year, have always been prominently available on our website. And, you know, I'm fine with also listing them on our board agendas at the end of each fiscal year, you know, with a hyperlink. So that just gives, you know, the community another opportunity to take a look. Not only do we have nothing to hide, but we have everything to gain by being very transparent to the community. You'll notice since I've been chair that I've been very diligent about making sure that our high dollar items are being discussed. And it is regular routine business. Oftentimes there's no discussion from the board because we know it's items that we're mandated to pay for and that we have to do and that it's our obligation to do as a public school system. But because impact fees, you know, they didn't work out so well. We'll have another go-round. I think it's 4 years, right, Attorney Powers?
Yes.
Before we can ask for another increase in impact fees. Yet the need, and I believe that the community is continuing to become more and more aware of the tremendous need that we do have. And so we are asking for a half-cent sales tax to help support everything that we are needing to build and maintain. That is the biggest thing. You know, we intend to build a few schools, but in the meantime, we have 50-something others, including the one we're sitting in right now that was built in 1956. And as we sit here and pass microphones to each other, I think that kind of illustrates that this building simply was not built with technology in mind. iPhones and technology and computers just weren't around then. So when I think about the cost of technology, when I think about the cost of school safety, when I think about what it costs, $2.9 million just to get a project rolling. And that really isn't anything that we can do other than make it clear to the community why it's costing so much. And I hear from a lot of community members, you know, how can you put a price on student safety? You know, where's the manpower and where are the metal detectors? You know, like we do in airports. It's a legitimate question. I don't think any of us want to leave any stone unturned, but every great idea takes more and more and more money to make happen. And because of these constraints, that's why our budget has gotten so large. You know, as a taxpayer myself and someone that was well alive when schools were open and welcoming and friendly and windows were open to the breezes and parents came and went. You know, I really don't want our community to forget those times. I still want to believe that we're just in a pretty bad phase right now and a pretty challenging phase as a society. But at some point, enough people are going to get sick of this where there will be a shift back to that humane treatment of each other and that everything that the American ideals stand for. I'll just say that, you know, everything that people want to move here to be. I certainly wouldn't want to be in Haiti right now. And we still have, you know, the greatest country in the world. So sadly, for now, we have to close the windows and put in gates and all kinds of other things to keep each other safe from things that I really wish and that we never had to deal with, and pray that we won't have to for a whole lot longer. So with that being said, I think it's always good, you know, to continue to share with the community the true need, and also to remind the community that every single one of us sitting up here are also taxpayers. So whatever we vote for, we also share the pain in paying for. But our kids are worth it. Your kids are worth it. Saying this to every community member and grandparent that we have out there. And we're going to continue to tell the story, and we're going to continue to make it very clear that this district is committed to success and safety and moving into a much, much more encouraging and positive and agreeable time. So I'm just not going to let go of that. So you'll be hearing that for the next 2 years. That's all I have. So if there is no other discussion, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion by Board Member James. Second by Vice Chair Conrad. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes unanimously 5-0. We are adjourned at 7:24 p.m. Thank you.
I know that he was mad that I kept tapping it, but no, maybe it did start working. Start working. Yeah, I just stopped making motions. I was just like, I'm just gonna sit here. You can hear me when I say aye. As long as the three of you, I mean, it's just to accept the budget, but as long as the three of you can be here, then great. But I could be here at 8 o'clock if you want to move a meeting to 8 o'clock, which that's not. But I purposefully asked Ms. Boston Ellis, is this the one that has to have that time certain? And it is. I know. I'm like, could we just move it to 12 o'clock? No.